Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet. Hello, Cubanwriter here with Darkling Faye,
Hello.
reviewing the 5th episode of Iron Fist on Netflix.
Are we almost done?
No, I don't think we're quite halfway there yet.
Oh my gosh, it's the never-ending tale of Iron Fist.
Well, actually, there are some good things I have to say about this episode.
Yeah?
First of all, the opening scene with the pharmaceutical reps got my interest right away, and that's not a phrase I'd ever thought I'd hear myself say.
Did they keep your interest?
Well, throughout their entire scene, to the start of the episode, after the credits, I was intrigued. I liked their...
Did it live up to the intrigue? Or did it slowly melt away where you thought,
Well,
can I turn it off yet?
There were pacing issues with this particular episode. I felt like the entire episode could have been resolved in about...
30 minutes or less?
Yeah. And I felt like they were stretching it out like taffy. But I was glad that something happened right away to get my interest. And then a little while later, we got a fight, which was not as exciting as I wanted it to be.
No.
I think they're still mixing in a little too much of that corporate drama, which isn't what we really want to see out of Iron Fist. I know he's a billionaire, but really the part we're interested in is the fact that he's a kung fu expert.
It's like having to watch Batman and all you get is Bruce Wayne for the entire movie.
It does seem a little Bruce Wayne
any,
heavy.
You don't get any of the cool Batman stuff. Just here's Bruce Wayne running his company. How exciting.
Yeah, I do think they might have miscalculated which part of the Batman scenario was the most interesting.
Yeah.
On Green Arrow, they recognized that Green Arrow was the more interesting part and not the millionaire. On Batman, they recognized that Batman is the most interesting part. But on Iron Fist...
Danny Rand, billionaire extraordinaire, is the interest of the day.
Yeah, they may have been a little bit confused about what was bringing people to the series. But I do find the synthetic heroin angle interesting. This is the second time we've seen the Hand deeply involved in the drug trade for reasons that I don't understand. I mean, do they really just want money?
I don't know, because we barely get anything of the Hand and they explain nothing of it. So I think the writers do that because they don't know.
You know, it
At
could
least
be...
in this series, they really don't know.
It could be it hasn't been decided what their plan is, or it could be they're just waiting to reveal it later.
I doubt it.
But this is the second time they've been heavily influenced in drugs. And I wonder if they're planning to use the drugs as some way to get, like, spiritual control over the city or something. I wonder if the drugs are a carrier to some mystic power.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know. But we did have that fight scene, which, again, the pacing was really off on it. But I was glad to see a little bit of action after so much corporate intrigue.
Yeah, it just, unfortunately, is like most of the other fight scenes. It's very unsatisfying. He is supposed to be good, and yet they don't really show him well.
Yeah.
They have yet to show him fighting well in anything. And in this case, it was just him and some guy in a truck. And yet, still gets his ass pretty much kicked throughout it until the end. And I'm just like, there's not like 9 ninjas on you. It's just you and some random guy who wasn't that good. So I'm kind of thinking like, come on now.
Yeah, I will say if they were going to have one guy seem to be that powerful against him, then they needed to build up this guy somehow. Just having some dude in a truck wasn't good enough to explain why that fight scene was stretched out the way it was.
It really was just like thug number 1. It wasn't anyone of importance or anyone that was shown to be skilled that he fought against, and yet he struggled really poorly in it. And again, like, if you're trying to make him up, and this is what they kept going over, they like beat you over the head. I've trained all my life. I've trained so much. I made it. I'm like the best of the best. In this episode, that's what they kept reiterating to you all the time. And yet, when you can see him fight in a simple fight with a schoolyard bully, he doesn't do well. And I think, what happened to all those years of training? Well, where did all of that go? You're the Iron Fist. You're supposed to be like a superhero. It's great that you can punch through semi-truck doors. That's all you've done with your fist so far is just bust through steel doors. You've done nothing else other than get beat up a lot.
I do wonder why he uses his Iron Fist in some situations and not others. Like, if that guy was giving me trouble and that fight lasted long enough that you could say, that guy was giving Danny Rand some trouble, you'd think he'd bust out the Iron Fist to end it quickly and get out of there. But he didn't. He went through the long combat until that poor sap got stabbed in the chest.
I would like to get stabbed in a chest like that because, it looked like a mortal wound. But no. You can be stabbed in the heart practically and have your lung collapse and get to jump out of a moving semi at high speeds onto another car and live. Because apparently the stab wound wasn't that serious. It's poor writing. And again, it felt like the only reason why they did that is so that you could have the nurse do her nurse stuff. And it's just so cliche how they set everything up. It's in the most uninteresting, uninspired way that they're trying to show people having skills. It just doesn't feel realistic. It just feels so contrived.
I will say I like the night nurse's scenes in other series better than hers in this one. I really liked her treatment of Luke Cage during the Jessica Jones series. But, oh well, I guess they needed an excuse to bring her in. I'm surprised she didn't bring up Daredevil or Luke Cage. But at least Daredevil, he's actually fought the Hand.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. I was like, she's like, you shouldn't do this alone. And I was like, oh, you gonna go call a real superhero Daredevil? No, you're just gonna all of a sudden, because he says he believes in himself, you're gonna believe in him too. Okay, it was just
the writing wasn't very strong in that scene.
That was what I would say was disappointing throughout this entire episode for me, was just the poor writing throughout it. Sure, the opening scene was interesting, but it didn't get to capture my interest because then the episode goes downhill and it just keeps going down. And then you just end up more irritated, like, oh, why can't you do more stuff like the beginning throughout the entire episode? If you can write well, why are you not writing well? Why are you just doing this stuff that just doesn't even make sense? There's no, continuity through what they even do in one episode with the writing. Like, oh, I'm going to protect you, but hey, I need you to protect me because you're so good. Well, you didn't think she was so good, like, in all the other episodes, and now you feel like she's good enough to, like, get your back and help you out if you're going to go after bad guys.
Yeah, I apologize, by the way, for my thirsty dog drinking water in the middle of our recording, but...
It's Miranda again.
But yes, I agree with you. Just an episode or two ago, he was saying, I need to protect you. And now he's like, can you come and watch my back? And it is a great deal of inconsistency. I guess he's grown to really respect her abilities, or maybe it's that romantic subplot they're pushing hard now so that he can set her bone again.
I don't know. It's just maybe he really has... he keeps saying about how he's watching all of her cage fighting, and maybe that's why he's all of a sudden impressed, but it's just they haven't set it up well at all in most of this episode.
But the good news is the plot is continuing to move forward. We're continuing to see elements of the Hand come into the story, and it's possible that this is actually building up to a payoff later on.
Maybe. I will say you get to see more of Madame Gao in this one, so that's kind of nice at the end. You get to see her for once. She's not just a shadowy cloaked figure, so that's kind of cool. It was also nice not to have to deal with the senior Meacham for once, because I kind of find him really whiny and irritating, just like his son. So it was kind of nice to have a whole episode where he doesn't show up. So there was some things, and you don't get to see some people. Yay! But I still, after episode 5, I still wouldn't recommend the series yet.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm
Sorry,
not,
Netflix.
I'm not ready to
Can't do
recommend the series,
Can't
but
do it.
I am more excited about watching it, seeing that it seems to be heading in a direction that might get interesting.
I would say saying excited about watching the rest of the series is a little strong.
Well, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I'm not. But
Well,
we'll get through it.
on that note, this is Cubanwriter signing off.
Goodbye, darling.
See you all next time.
But you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer due.